again, students. Now in the part 2 we are going to discuss about past perfect tense. The form of past perfect tense is has plus past participle of the verb. Past participle, it means verb's third form. Okay, when example is when we reached the school, the bell had already rung. The ringing of the bell here happened first. So the first thing that happened was the bell rang. Another thing, uh, the proceeding action was that we reached. So the action that happened before another action will be taking past perfect tense, and the action that recently happened will be taking simple past tense. The past perfect tense refers to a time earlier than before now. It refers to a time earlier than before now. So we can say it is used to make it clear that one event happened before another in the past. It does not matter which event is mentioned first. The tense makes it very clear which one happened first. So I tell you two examples. The first one is John had gone out when I arrived in the office. So there are two actions happening, one after the another. The first is John had gone out. The second is I arrived in the office. So the action that happened before another action will be taking verbs third form, had plus verb third form, and that action that very recently happened is I arrived in the office, has already taken verbs second form. Another example I take, that is when they arrived we had already started cooking. We had already started cooking before they arrived. So you can very well differentiate that the first action is we started cooking, we had already started cooking, and the second action happened was when they arrived, it means they arrived. In details we can say action finished before another past action, like when we arrived the film had already started. We can see that with van close, simple past is used. Okay, how long to a point in the past, like when he graduated he had been in London for 6 years. So when plus past simple, for plus time, like I had been in Rajasthan for 20 years, I can say. So this is how I can use this tense. Also we use this tense to talk about unreal thing in the past. Like you must have heard about the conditionals, or you must have heard about hypothetical sentences. So I wish I hadn't gone um, to bed so late. Okay, so this is unreal thing because it had already happened, and I'm just now imagining that I wish it hadn't happened. The uses is had plus past participle. That's quite simple. When do we use past perfect tense? We have already discussed the past perfect tense takes place before another past action. So now it becomes a bit mandatory to have two actions in a sentence. The first action finishes before the other one. Okay, now there are a few examples given. You can see in positive how we use it, like I had played football. In negative, quite simple, we'll be using not in between the helping verb and main verb. And as you all are very much aware with the interrogative sentences formation, that is the helping verb is used before the subject, and interrogative with WH word will be taking WH word first, then helping verb, then subject, and then our main verb. So this is how we use past perfect tense. Now let us talk about the last tense related to past tense, that is past perfect continuous tense. The past perfect continuous tense It, it is used when something that started in the past and continued up to another action or time in the past. Something that started in the past continued up to another action or time in the past. So the past perfect tense, we can say it tells us how long, just like the present perfect continuous tense, but this time the action continues up to a point in the past rather than into the present. So usually we use for plus time, and I give you an example, just like I had been walking for hours when I finally found the house, or we had been living in California for 3 months when we had to leave. So likewise, this past perfect tense, here also we have two clauses. Okay, so one action is finished and the other is continued in the past. So now the another use of this past perfect continuous tense is that something that finished just before another event in the past. This is usually used to show a result at a time in the past. It's very similar to present perfect continuous tense. For example, I had been working before I saw you, and that's why I was really tired. Another example is the children had been playing, and so the room was a mess. Let us take one more example. The pavement was wet. It had been raining. See, the rain had finished before the time I'm describing in the past. So we could see the result of the rain. A few examples are given over here. So you can see them. You had been running. You hadn't been running. Had you been running? So the sentence formation is subject plus had been plus verbs ing form, plus we'll be having since or since or for. um, in the past continuous in the perfect continuous tense, in the perfect continuous tense we always have since and for plus time. So here also, after had been plus ing, will be using since or for plus verbs plus time. So that's all about past tense. We have so far discussed in part 1 video simple and continuous, and in part 2 it means this part we have discussed past perfect and past perfect continuous. I just hope you got a clear cut idea about the uses of verbs and the types of sentences or the actions where we have to use this past tense. In the next video we will be discussing about present tense. Till then, goodbye.